Hello and welcome to this video on subtracting decimals. Let's start off with a whole number example though. So if you've watched some of the other videos on adding and subtracting, you will know that we need to lay out our workings in a column. And when we're laying them out in a column, we must put digits of the same place value in line with each other. So here, for example, the 7 and the 2 are in line with each other because they are both in the units or ones column. So we always put digits of the same place value in line with each other. We also always start on the right hand side, so right underneath where that yellow arrow is. So I'm going to do this subtraction. And I read from top to bottom. So I'm going to go 7, take away 2, which leaves me with 5. Then I'm going to go to this column here, and I'm going to do 5, take away 3, which is 2. And then I'm going to go to this column, I'm going to do 4, take away 1, which is 3. So 325 is my answer to the first one. Example number 2. Let's start again on the right hand side. And remember, we are reading from top to bottom. So here I'm going to be doing 3, take away 8. Now, in normal terms, I cannot do this. So 3 take away 8 would take me into negatives, but we're not going to be able to do that in this situation. So what do? We have to look to this next column and we have to borrow, sometimes called exchanging. So we look to this column and we are going to cross it out and we're going to reduce that by 1. So that 6 becomes a 5, and then that 10, so to speak, goes into this column here. So this now becomes a 13. So now we can do 13 take away 8, which is 5. Now I'm going to go to this column. I'm going to do 5 take away 2, which is 3. And then I'm going to go to this column. I'm going to do 2 take away 1, which is 1. So 135 is the answer to my question there. Example number 3, we've got some decimals here, and you can see that I've lined up the decimal point. And if you line up the decimal point, all the other digits of the same place value will automatically fall into place and be in line with the correct place value. So crucially, lining up the decimal point. I'm going to do a bit more on that in the next video. We still start on the right hand side. In this case, we've now got the tenths column. So this is actually the tenths column. So even though I'm going to say 5 take away 6, just bear in mind that it's 5 tenths take away 6 tenths if we're being truly accurate. But for example purposes, I'm going to say 5 take away 6. So remember, we start on the right hand side and we go from top to bottom. Now 5 take away 6 I cannot do in this instance, so I'm going to borrow or exchange from this column. That's going to become a 2 because it's going to drop down by 1, and then I'm going to put a 10, so to speak, there. So this number now becomes 15, and if I do 15 take away 6, I'm left with 9. Put the decimal point in place. Now I've got to do 2 take away 7, which I cannot do in this situation. So I'm going to borrow from here, that's going to reduce by 1, and then I'm going to put a 10 there. So that number now becomes 12. Now I can do 12 take away 7, which is 5. And finally, I can now do 3 take away 1, which is 2. So my answer is 25.9. Example number 4. So we've got decimals, lined up the decimal point, and we're starting on the right hand side here, and we're going to do 0 take away 3. Now lots of people rush into that and put 3 there, but remember, we cannot do 0 take away 3 in this instance. So again, we have to look to the next column, we have to borrow or exchange. That reduces by 1, becomes a 4, and now we get a 10 here. Now it's 10 take away 3, which is 7. Here, 4 take away 1 is 3. Put your decimal point in place, and then it's 7 take away 2, which is 5. 5.37. Example 5. Again, start on the right hand side, and I'm going to do 0 take away 8, which I cannot do. So what do I have to do? I have to borrow or exchange from this column. That reduces by 1 to 3. I can then put that there. Now my question becomes 10 take away 8, which is 2. Put my decimal point in line with the ones above. 3 take away 6 I cannot do, so again I have to borrow from here. That reduces by 1 to 8, and I can borrow the 10 to there. 13 take away 6 is 7, and the final part of my question is 8 take away 3, which is 5. So my final answer is 57.2. Example number 6. 5.00 take away 2.79. So again, I have to start on the right hand side here, and my question is 0 take away 9. Now lots of people rush into that and just put 9 there, but that is not the case. I cannot do in this situation 0 take away 9, so I have to borrow. But I've got a problem here now because I cannot borrow from here. So I now have to jump to this column. I'm going to just keep jumping until I can borrow something, okay? And I can borrow from here. So that reduces by 1 to 4. Now, I know that we need the 10 to be here, but let's just work this through step by step. So that's reduced by 1 to get a 4. So let's say that the 10 temporarily becomes in that column. Okay, but that's not actually where we want it. We want it in this column. So that effectively reduces by 1 from 10 to 9. And then that's when you get your 10 in that column. Now your question is 10 take away 9, which is 1. Then I'm going to do 9 take away 7, which is 2. Decimal point here. And the final part of my question is 4 take away 2, which is just 2. 2.21. And final example, example number 7. We've now got 20.00 take away 13.84. So again, we must start on the right hand side. Don't fall into the trap of putting a 4 there. Okay, the question is 0 take away 4, which I cannot do. So what do we normally do? We normally look next door, but I've got a 0 there, so I can't do anything there. Let's look next door. Oh dear, I can't do anything there because there's a 0 there. And let's have a look here. Yes, I can borrow from there. That reduces by 1 to 1. That temporarily goes there, but I don't want it there, I want it here. So I'm going to cross that out. That's going to become a 9. Temporarily that 10 jumps to there, but I don't want it there. I want it in my final column, so that crosses out and becomes a 9. And this is now where I want my 10. So now my question becomes 10 take away 4, which is 6. This question is now 9 take away 8, which is 1. This question now becomes 9 take away 3, which is 6. And the final part of my question is just 1 take away 1, which is 0. So you can either put a 0 there or just leave it blank. And your final answer therefore is 6.16. Okay, I hope that's been helpful. Now have a go at these questions by yourself. So write them out in a column, do your subtractions, and then resume the video to see the answers. So pause it now, have a go at them, resume the video to see the answers. And here are the answers. Well done for having a go at those.